Have you ever heard of a creature so strange it makes you wonder how anyone could believe it was real? Some mythical creatures are just too weird to make sense, like headless people or vampires that split in half. In this video, we're talking about 7 mythical creatures that really shouldn't have existed. Not just because they're creepy, but because they break every rule of nature, science, and plain common sense. These aren't your usual dragons or ghosts. These are the ones that make you go, wait, what? Let's take a look at the weirdest of the weird. Imagine running into someone with no head, just a face sitting right on their chest. That's the Blemmyes, a mythical race described in ancient times by writers like Herodotus and Pliny the Elder. People believed they lived in distant, unexplored lands, and for centuries, travelers swapped stories about these strange, headless humans. But here's the thing, this creature makes zero sense. No head means no brain in the right place, no way to chew or breathe properly, and your eyes would be staring straight at your own belly. Try crossing the street like that. So why did people believe in them? Maybe it was a bad translation or just wild rumors blown way out of proportion. But one thing's for sure, the Blemmyes are one of the weirdest examples of how far human imagination can stretch when it comes to creatures that shouldn't have existed. Now this one's seriously creepy. The Tiyanak is a creature from Philippine folklore that looks and cries like a newborn baby. But when someone hears the crying and tries to help, the baby suddenly transforms into a monster with sharp claws and fangs, attacking its victim without warning. Yeah, nightmare fuel. The Tiyanak is said to live in forests or dark, lonely places, waiting for someone to come close. Some stories say it's the spirit of a baby that died before being baptized, or one that was never born. It's a mix of ghost story and demon myth. But let's talk reality. A baby turning into a deadly creature that can hunt and kill? That's impossible on every level, biologically, physically, and emotionally. Yet, these stories stuck because they played on deep fears, like losing a child or wandering into danger. Creepy, clever, and completely unreal. These guys are straight out of a holiday horror story. The Kallikantzaros are goblin-like creatures from Southeast European folklore, especially in Greece. They live underground most of the year, sawing at the tree that holds up the earth. But during the 12 days of Christmas from December 25th to January 6th, they climb up to the surface to cause chaos. They mess with food, break things in your house, and just cause general mayhem. People used to hang garlic or burn shoes to keep them away. Wild, right? But here's why they shouldn't exist. If they spend all year trying to destroy the world, why take a vacation exactly when people are most alert? And how would they survive living underground all year without food, sunlight, or air? They're fun to imagine, but totally ridiculous when you think about it. Still, they add a spooky twist to the holiday season. Mokele-mbembe is like something out of Jurassic Park, but it comes from real stories in Central Africa. Locals describe it as a huge creature living in the Congo River basin, with a long neck and tail, basically a mini brontosaurus. Some explorers even claim to hear roars or see strange tracks deep in the jungle. Sounds exciting, right? A dinosaur that survived extinction, hiding all this time? That's why cryptozoologists, people who search for hidden animals, have been obsessed with it for decades. But here's the problem. There's no solid proof. No bones, no fossils, no real photos. Just blurry stories and secondhand tales. Plus, it would be nearly impossible for a dinosaur-sized animal to stay hidden in a region full of researchers, satellites, and locals. It would need a lot of food, a breeding population, and space to roam. We would have noticed by now. Scientists say it's likely a case of mistaken identity, maybe a hippo, elephant, or even a crocodile seen from a weird angle. Still, the legend lives on, proving how much we want to believe in prehistoric monsters. The Snallygaster is one of America's strangest cryptids. Born from early German-American folklore in Maryland, this beast is said to be part bird, part reptile, with giant wings, a metal beak lined with teeth, and even tentacles. Some stories say it snatches people from the sky or drinks their blood. It sounds like someone mashed up every scary creature they could think of, and that's probably exactly what happened. Biologically, the Snallygaster is a mess. A flying creature that big wouldn't even get off the ground, especially with metal parts and extra limbs. Tentacles? Those belong in the ocean, not on a flying lizard bird. And a metal beak? Nature doesn't make metal. This creature was likely invented to scare people or as a joke that got out of hand. Newspapers even ran fake stories in the early 1900s to hype it up. Fun story, but totally impossible. If vampires freak you out, meet the Manananggal, one of the creepiest creatures from Philippine folklore. By day, it looks like a normal woman, but at night, it splits in half at the waist, grows wings, and flies off to suck the blood of sleeping victims, especially pregnant women. The bottom half stays behind, standing still like a forgotten mannequin. It's a terrifying image, but also totally impossible. First off, no living thing can survive being cut in half. There are no organs in the top half to keep the body alive, let alone fly and hunt. And the stories say if someone finds the lower half and sprinkles salt or garlic on it, the Manananggal can't reattach and dies by sunrise. Dramatic, sure, but it's not scientific. These legends probably started as ways to explain illness, pregnancy fears, or just to scare kids into staying home at night. Effective? Yes. Real? Definitely not. The Qilin is often called the Chinese unicorn, but it's way more than that. It's described as a mix of different animals, part deer, part dragon, sometimes with hooves or scales, and always glowing with a magical vibe. It's said to bring peace and appear only when a great leader is born. Here's the catch. With so many animal parts mixed together, this creature doesn't fit into any natural category. Some historians think the legend may have started when people first saw giraffes, strange, tall, and spotted. It's beautiful, sure, but as a real animal, it just doesn't add up. So why do these impossible creatures exist in stories all over the world? Simple. Humans love to explain the unexplainable. Before science, people used myths to make sense of strange sights, weird noises, or sudden disasters. Creatures like the Tiyanak or Snallygaster may have been ways to explain illness, missing people, or even just the fear of the unknown. These myths also help pass down values or warnings like, "Don't go into the woods alone." Over time, the stories grew wilder, mixing imagination with fear. The result? Creatures that make no sense, but still capture our curiosity today. From headless people to flying vampire witches, these mythical creatures are some of the wildest ideas humans have ever come up with. None of them could ever exist in real life. They break every rule of nature, logic, and biology. But that's exactly what makes them so fascinating. These stories show just how creative and sometimes terrified our ancestors were. They remind us of a time when the world felt full of mystery and danger. Even if they shouldn't have existed, they live on in our stories, legends, and nightmares. Thanks for watching, and sleep tight tonight, just in case.